So there's a trend going around right now, especially on TikTok, where women are openly saying something we almost never hear. They're saying modern dating didn't turn out the way they were promised. And what makes this moment different isn't the criticism itself, it's who the criticism is coming from. This isn't men complaining, this isn't podcasts yelling into microphones, it's women on their own platforms saying, yeah, something went wrong. Now, before anyone gets defensive, let me be clear, this does not represent all women, obviously, but when enough people start independently saying the same thing, it's worth slowing down and actually listening, because this conversation isn't about feminism versus anti-feminism, it's about outcomes, and it's about why dating feels so confusing and exhausting for so many people right now.
My hot take is that feminism is the biggest joke. And before you come at me, just hear me out. Before feminism, families were united. Men and women were united. They understood each other. They took care of each other. They knew how each other worked. They knew what the other person needed. And families were actually built upon loyalty, trust, and connection. Nowadays, women are told you can be independent. You don't need to have a family. You don't need a man. And the result is women are miserable because they are living a life that is not true to them. That is not something they were naturally born to do. And men are miserable because they have to choose between being single or being with a woman who never appreciates them, never respects them, and doesn't love them in the way that they need. The fact that we think feminism actually helped our society, yes, maybe it helped some women who were being abused or who were actually in devastating relationships, but for the most part, it caused a lot more destruction than it did good to our society in general. You can try and prove me wrong, but look at the statistics.
Hot take. Feminism ruined everything for women. I'm gonna say it again. Feminism ruined everything. They try to label it as, oh, let's empower women. But really, it's, how can we tax more people? How can we make more money? Because that's exactly what it is. And not only that, they want to indoctrinate our children. And the best way to do that is by getting them out of the homes and away from the mother and into the system. And not only that, we're going to inflate the prices of everything so that you can't afford to stay home with your kids. And that's like, we're getting to the point where like, that's where I'm at. And I didn't ask for any of this. I vote we go back to the era where women don't have to work and men be men. And yeah.
I did not know that the feminist rhetoric had gotten so bad. Like, it's so far gone to the point where it has convinced you ladies that motherhood is not even worth doing. Wow, that's crazy. Do y'all know it's women out here who can't even fucking have kids? It's women out here who's like literally at the church altar praying on their knees every day to bear a child. But then you have women in the same world who have opted out because they say, oh, it's a sacrifice. I don't want to give up this and give up that. Like, you know we weren't put here to live for ourselves, right? Like, this is insane. Feminism done fucked y'all up. It's, ooh, boy.
You want to know something that most women aren't ready to hear? Modern feminism killed chivalry. Modern feminism has shifted from seeking equality to promoting superiority and resentment towards men, framing men as oppressors rather than partners and equals. With the birth of modern feminism, there came the birth of the girl boss, I don't need a man. Chivalry was never meant to make women look weak. It was made to create a culture of mutual respect where men acted honorably towards women and acknowledged their virtue and grace. Modern feminism, by demanding sameness instead of equality, has blurred those lines. In trying to erase gender differences, it's erased the gestures that celebrate them. The result of this is now we have an entire generation of men who are not willing to honor, pursue, or protect women. We have this entire generation of men who just want to hook up on the first date, who have no respect for women, who don't hold open the door, who don't buy flowers, and it is because of modern feminism. Not only that, but it is also a result of weak men. There's a reason that our grandparents have the cutest love stories where the men pursued the women and they didn't have sex until they were married and they respected and honored each other. And now we are seeing the result of the crash and burn of modern feminism, and unfortunately it is affecting a lot of women looking for life partners and a lot of men looking for life partners. Feminism is great. The idea of feminism is great to promote equality, but it has evolved into something that is toxic and dangerous to our society.
Before we dive back into the cookout, I want to take a quick break because this is something you can actually do right now while you're just sitting around and bored. Like if you're already on your phone scrolling or you're already playing video games anyways, you might as well get paid for it. I remember seeing this the other week thinking, nah, this gotta be one of those things that sounds fake, but it's actually legit. If you hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen, you can download Free Cash and sign up for free right now. And the way it works is pretty simple. Free Cash partners with app games and offers that are literally paying for new users. You download the game, play through all the levels they give you, and the cash goes straight into your Free Cash account. When I first saw my friend do this other week, I was like, damn, it's really that easy? And it turns out to be true. Some people make $10 to $20 just playing casually, like here and there. And if you're more dedicated, some of those offers go a lot higher, even into the hundreds, which is pretty insane. It's not a get rich quick thing, but it is pretty solid for turning downtime into extra money. Honestly, this feels like one of those things where you're just like, yeah, this probably won't be around forever, so you might as well try it while it's here. You can cash out through PayPal or gift cards, and if you use my link or QR code, you'll also get a $5 bonus to start. Again, completely free to try. All right. Now let's get back to the conversation because this part actually matters. So if we're being honest, feminism promised a lot of good things. Independence, choice, freedom, the ability for women to build careers, control their finances, and not need a man for survival. And in a lot of ways, that part worked. But where things started getting shaky is that relationships were treated like an afterthought, like they just magically figured themselves out once everyone was empowered. But they didn't. We pushed marriage later and later. The average age of first marriage is almost a decade older than it was a few generations ago. There are more people single today than ever, and yet loneliness is through the roof. So what happened? We removed dependence, which is good, but we never replaced it with a clear relationship framework. You see, independence solved economic problems, but it didn't solve emotional compatibility. And that gap is where a lot of modern dating confusion lives.
I feel like a conversation a lot of people don't want to have and aren't ready to have yet is how misunderstood and misrepresented feminism is. Like, one, there's this whole trend on social media of my man better pay for this for me and pay for that for me, and he better do this and that for me because it's girl power, princess treatment, feminism, whatever. It's not feminism, and it's actually not women empowerment. It's misogyny repackaged into a pink sparkly bow because you are perpetuating the idea that a woman must be dependent on a man for resources, for means of living. That being said, you are allowed to have preferences in a relationship. You're allowed to prefer a man who will pay for you, or you're allowed to prefer a man who's rich, but don't put it under this disguise of feminism and girl power because it's not. If you were a feminist, you would not believe that it's a man's role to provide for you. You would believe that you are supposed to provide for yourself and you can be independent as a woman. But again, don't get me wrong, I like when someone treats me out for dinner. I like when someone pays for me, but I won't expect it. I won't say that it's their obligation, it's their role. A lot of people are going to call me a pick-me or hate on me for saying this, but I go into all my dates expecting to pay for half the bill. Whether or not they decide to pay for the full thing is up to them, but I will not hold it against them if they want to split the bill. Another thing is feminism and how it's misrepresented through publications and social media. We'll get a very accomplished and empowered woman, will paint her face in makeup, put her in a flashy outfit, retouch her face, cinch her waist in on Photoshop, make her tits bigger, call her a girl boss, and the day is done. That's feminism for the day. The same thing that happened 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 60 years ago, etc. Except this time we're calling her a girl boss, and so it's feminism. No, we're again just supporting misogynistic systems under the idea of, oh, feminism.
Y'all women are getting weird. Y'all really hate men. Now I'm starting to see why the bear versus man conversation was even a thing in the first place. Y'all think these men are these wild, chaotic beasts. They're not humans. They're not the other half of the human race. They don't have feelings and emotions. They don't have a heart. They don't care. They don't have a mind. They just this species that's infected with rabies and they waiting to jump and kill and destroy every single thing out there. I'm sorry y'all had some bad fathers, ran into some bad friends, had some bad boyfriends, whatever you encountered. That's not all men. Just like all women don't say stuff like this. Because I would never say that. Because I know there's some good men. This comment will never come out my mouth. Not all men watch porn. So what do those men do who don't watch it? Are they out killing and doing that to all the women? No. Unfortunately, the narrative that's painted that men are these wild animals is not true. So please stop believing that.
Feminism told y'all be strong, independent, and alone, and y'all followed it to the grave. Y'all push all the good men away, call submission slavery, and think being difficult is cute. Now y'all 35 and tired, looking around like, oh, where the good men at? Sis, they moved on. Real men want peace, not problems in a lace front and a loud voice. Feminism sold y'all freedom, but they didn't mention the price. Loneliness.
Let's talk about misogyny, sexism, and patriarchy. So you see how all of these red pill feminists are about, we gotta dismantle patriarchy, we gotta take down patriarchy. It's like, whatever. The only reason why you're complaining about patriarchy is because you no longer benefit from it. A clear indicator of women upholding and enforcing misogyny, patriarchy, and sexism, dating. How many times have we seen videos in regards to women arguing about, I don't want no coffee date. You got to take me to a restaurant and it can't be Cheesecake Factory. If you're broke, then say you're broke. How dare you take me to Cheesecake Factory? Now, I've eaten at Cheesecake Factory recently, and a early dinner for two was $178. You know, it's a 2.5 star restaurant, right? But the fact that you expect a man to be dropping $200 to $500 on the first date, that is upholding patriarchy, misogyny, and sexism. I want a man to be a protector and a provider. Once again, you are enforcing gender norms. You are upholding gender norms. I want a man to do this and I want a man to do that. You call yourself a feminist, but you want to reap the benefits of sexism, patriarchy, and misogyny. But then you bitch and complain about it when you no longer benefit from it. And the women who do benefit from patriarchy, misogyny, and sexism, you call it pretty privilege. Because when you sit there and you really listen actively and you dissect the surface level tension and you really drill down to the core problem in regards to what pretty privilege is women who benefit from patriarchy. I ain't got shit to do with her being pretty, and it has everything to do with the fact that she is garnering favor with the men. So the women who complain the most about pretty privilege or aesthetic politics are the women who cannot benefit from it. Pretty privilege boils down to good old-fashioned textbook sexual competition. The fact that she is getting attention from men and reaping the benefits of patriarchy. Ain't got shit to do with the fact that she's just purely pretty. Why do you think that the main people who talk about pretty privilege are women? Because men don't give a fuck about that. And no matter how many times you sit there and try to tell women, you need more than just a pretty face and a nice body. You gotta have a personality. They don't want to listen. This is why a lot of these red pill feminists will never be a lesbian, because they don't have any game. The playing field has been leveled, and they don't have the personality or the range to pull a woman. And so they go back to what they know, being straight, when deep down, they're just closeted lesbians who are just bitter and broken. You ain't gotta, agree with me. You can argue all you want, but it's amazing what you pick up on when you just observe and actively listen.
Here's where things really start to clash. A lot of women still want men who are confident, men who are emotionally intelligent, men who are financially stable, men who lead, protect, and provide in some way. At the same time, a lot of men are being told they're not really needed anymore. And when those two messages exist at the same time, you get friction, because men are sitting here thinking, if I'm unnecessary, why am I still expected to perform? And women are sitting here thinking, why aren't men stepping up like they used to? And of course, dating apps made this even worse. A small percentage of men get the most attention, as we all know, but everyone else is left competing, comparing, and quietly burning out. So you end up with higher standards, but fewer people are willing to meet them. And I think that's the main problem.
Unpopular opinion, y'all might not like this video. A lot of y'all ladies are single because you have a modern day feminist mindset, but you still crave traditional benefits. On one hand, y'all would say that y'all are strong, independent. You work hard, you have your own money. You don't need a man. But then you get in a relationship with that man who's also making his own money, but he needs to pay all the bills and you get to keep your money. But now let's say that man agrees to that. Even though you make your own money, he decides to pay all the bills so you can keep yours. And he tells you, hey, since I'm paying all the bills, make sure when I come home, I have a home-cooked meal and the house is cleaned. You're going to look at him and tell him that you're not a maid, you're not a house slave, that this is not 1965. Who does he think you are? The way how some of y'all look at relationships and dating these days, it's sort of like you're standing on the fence. Some of y'all pick and choose what side of the fence you want to be on, but only when it benefits you. I'm not telling you which one to pick, but you have to pick one.
I feel the reason why women hate men so much nowadays is literally their fault. The reason I think almost all men nowadays are princesses is because women are expected to do the same thing men are supposed to do. Like, they wanted equal rights the whole time, and now they're expected to pull their half, and now they don't want to. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't want to take the responsibility that they said that they wanted. I honestly think that feminism, not only feminism, but like a bunch of other factors ruined like traditional masculine men, but like I also think it like ruined like households, like genuinely. I think feminism was a really bad thing for society.
You know what I would never understand is why y'all ladies hate men so much. You should be mad at the feminists. They the ones that fucked you over. Instead of being at home all day, making a few meals and playing with some man's balls. Now you gotta work 40 to 50 hours a week and still play with some man's balls. I mean, make the shit make sense. The only thing these bitches managed to do was to fuck you over. And you want to make us out to be the bad guy. I mean, if these helpers were really for the cause, they would have taught your ass how to leverage your cooter a whole lot better. I mean, you already got all the power between your legs. You're just using it wrong. You're giving out the cooter for free. I mean, what the hell do you want to be like us for? I mean, you're too busy trying to be a man that you lost sight that you already had all the motherfucking power. I mean, ask any man around. What's his kryptonite? It's gonna be the cooter. You got the cooter. I mean, hell, give me a cooter. And you'll see a motherfucker that don't pay for shit. Now you want to dog us out because you misuse the cooter. How in the hell is it our fault that you don't know how to leverage your asset? You've been lied to, bamboozled, hoodwinked, all by the same bitches that said they were there for your ass. Make it make sense.
You've been telling men that they're the problem for so long. So why are y'all surprised that they're not showing up? I'm confused here. Men didn't just become lazy. Men didn't just, stop dating or, they just didn't randomly say, oh, we're just going to stop dating. We're just going to stop approaching women. We're just going to stop making the effort. Men have checked out. That's just what it is. Because for years, the message has been loud and clear. You are the problem. As a man, you are the problem. That's I'm in my early 20s, and that's what I've been, ever since I cracked like 15, that's what I've been hearing. That's what I see on social media. That's what I've seen basically from 15 to my age right now. Masculinity was labeled toxic, right? Providing and wanting to provide for your family, providing for a woman was, considered control. Being a leader, being a leader was called domination, controlling again. And if I'm being honest, being a man, simply just being a man became something that you had to constantly apologize for being. Like, just think about this. Like, you were born a certain way. God made you a certain way. Biology made you a certain way, right? And you've been told your whole life that being that way is a problem. What did y'all expect was going to happen? What happens when you constantly demonize something? Well, men are going to disengage. I thought she was wifey material, but nah, let me just slap it down on the weekend. And then, maybe I'll text her back if I'm feeling it, make her chase a little bit. Because here's the truth, and a lot of people don't like to speak about this, but when men when they felt respected, when they felt needed, they actually showed up. Guys used to pull over on the side of the road, fixing tires, opening the door for women, right? Carrying groceries for if a woman is struggling crossing the street, carrying the groceries, right? It's very, very simple. When men feel respected, they actually do the thing that they actually behave masculine. But today, nah, bro, we're seen as, oppressive, which is kind of funny, to be honest. But anyways, so why would I've asked this question so many times. Why would a man invest into a system that resents him? It just makes no sense. Why would a man commit to a woman that is, that sees him almost as a villain? Feminism didn't just fight for women. It literally fights against men, and especially the modern radical one now called superiority. And now we're living in a world where, men no longer see their responsibilities as mandatory. You walk around, you see some of these guys nowadays, they're like, oh, I have to pay for the date. Like, they're like, nah, bro. Which makes sense because that's what feminism was all about, equality. So if you're talking about equality, sounds like 50-50 to me. And of course, here comes the irony. The same society that told men that, we're very controlling, oppressive, they don't need us, is the same society of women crying about there's no good men, why are men not approaching me, all this stuff. Crazy the irony in how that works. You can't shame a man for being a man and then complain when he doesn't show up. It just makes no sense.
One thing that I've never understood, and this is a genuine question, this is not a hate video at all, but women have been pushing back against the whole being submissive because they want equality, and all of that makes sense to me. But then none of their actions or what they actually respond to reciprocate this. For example, the most common literature that women read are romance novels written by other women in which there's a power dynamic in the relationship that heavily favors the man, whether that him be some sort of mythical creature, or maybe it's a gothic Victorian period piece in which the man is very wealthy, the woman has less rights, comes from less, and overall just creates this submissive vibe. This is often true with TV shows and movies that women like, and it's my theory that that's why women often like older men. See, in my experience in the dating world, women love when a man leads. They love when he plans the date. He says, hey, be ready at 7, wear something nice, I'll plan everything, I'll pay for the date, all that stuff. They love it. But then randomly in other aspects, they're like, hey, I'm all about equality. Now, I know people are going to get mad at me and misinterpret this video, but this is just genuinely me asking, like, why is this? I just don't understand as a man.
This is the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Most men don't hate women. That's just not true. They don't even hate feminism. What they feel is unneeded. Men are constantly told masculinity is dangerous, outdated, or unnecessary. Don't lead, don't assume roles, don't initiate too confidently, don't be too masculine. But then the dating market still expects them to approach, still expects them to pay, still expects them to protect, still expects them to pursue. So from a male perspective, it feels like this weird contradiction. Masculinity is often criticized now, but still required when it's convenient. And over time, that creates resentment. Not loud resentment, but quiet withdrawal. A lot of men feel like chivalry is no longer appreciated, but expected. And when effort stops being valued, people stop giving it. This isn't about women being submissive or men being dominant. It's about emotional, mutual benefits. Men want to feel wanted. They want to feel respected. They want to feel like their effort matters. But when feminism is preached in a way that rejects femininity, softness, warmth, appreciation, but still wants the benefits of traditional men, the men are out of here. Not angrily, but silent. And a lot of men didn't leave dating because they were bitter. They left because it felt like high risk and low reward.
If a man said these things I'm about to say, he'd be crucified. But I'm a woman, so let's talk. All you hear about is toxic masculinity, but what about toxic femininity? It gets glamorized. Modern feminism has taught women to be exactly everything that they hate in men. Emotionally unavailable, selfish, prideful, lack of accountability. I mean, y'all already know accountability is like a woman's kryptonite, and I could say that wholeheartedly because I've been that woman. Men are taught, step up, be leaders, be men, be protectors, be providers. And then it's like women are told you deserve more, no matter how you act. I mean, we say we want accountability, unless it's only for men. And if the woman's the problem, we just call it trauma. Be patient with her. It's trauma. If a man is considered the problem, we call it abuse. Now, I'm not saying some of that is not true in some cases, so don't flip my word. And I'm sorry, ladies, but the toxic dating culture is not trash because of men. It's trash because people nowadays lack conviction. They lack integrity. I mean, y'all wanted equality until it came with consequences. Y'all have a blessed day. Jesus is king.
I'm married, right? Which I am. I have a husband, right? Why would I want to just leave the house without him knowing? That doesn't make sense. I've never met a wife that prefers to be by herself. The wives I know, women that are around me, love being around their husband. They enjoy his company. I don't know what this like weird propaganda is, but like, I have no desire to have money without my husband or to leave the house without him. Like, I'd rather go out to eat with him than any of you guys. Like, I don't even like hanging with friends. Like, I prefer being with my husband. He's literally my best friend. So I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. Feminism didn't do anything for me at all. All it did was create beef with y'all because it didn't do anything for me. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You guys think feminism gave you something, but we already have everything we need. Like, I don't need some man-made institution to tell me that I can do this or I can do that. I'm good. Like, I like having a husband. I like being around him. I like that. I love working with my husband. Any kind of work I do, it's contributing to his business, and I love that. Like, that's what I like to do. I'm not interested in like leading my own life. That's like, that is contradictory to the concept of marriage, right? Like, if you're in a marriage, you're supposed to contribute to each other. You're not supposed to lead your own life. Like, you have to stop listening to miserable women that tell you that feminism is good and you should have your own shit and you should live your own life and you should prepare for his ass to leave you and blah, blah, and all this miserable shit. Like, no, like, you're not saying anything. You wouldn't be able to leave the house. Where the fuck I'ma go? What is so urgent for me to have to go that would require my husband's absence? Like, I don't understand why, what that's doing for me. What's the point? What's the point? For a worst case scenario that's never gonna happen? Like, girl, shut up.
So why are women talking about this now? Because reality eventually catches up to ideology. Career success doesn't automatically lead to relationship fulfillment. You see, social media sold this version of life that ignored time, biology, and emotional needs. A lot of women today did everything right. They focused on themselves, they built independence, they even delayed relationships. But now they're asking, why does this still feel empty? Birth rates today are at historic lows. Dating fatigue is real, and people are now realizing that freedom without connection isn't as satisfying as it sounded. This isn't a rejection of feminism as a whole, it's a reevaluation of what it costs relationships. And that's a conversation that was always going to happen eventually.
Okay, I'm going to say something. It's risky. Modern feminism is toxic. Let me repeat. Modern feminism is toxic. It is said that being overly independent is a defense mechanism for being constantly let down. And while for some women this is true, because I have been that woman, the ideology that a woman can do anything a man can do and do it as good as a man is not true. Women are capable of a lot of things, and I love that. I love a good, strong woman. I love being a strong woman. But there are things that my man can do that I cannot do, or I can do things, but he can do them better or more efficiently. And there are things that I can do that he cannot do or cannot do as efficiently. My personal belief is that men and women are equal because we can both bring strengths to the table that the other cannot. Therefore, we pair them together and are a strong unit. And that's what I love about my man, is he knows his strengths, I know mine, and we crush it together.
Isn't it so crazy that feminism does the exact opposite of empowering women? It is not giving you freedom. It is actually silencing you. It has convinced women that sexualization is freedom, that selling their bodies online is freedom, that having multiple partners is freedom. But what this actually does is exploit you and enslave you. It's funny how feminism actually just gave the worst type of men exactly what they wanted. I mean, having as much emotionless sex as possible, OnlyFans, running around half naked, killing their babies, men and women's sports. How does that equal female empowerment? Not to mention you're warding off all of the good men. I mean, you guys say over and over how much you hate men when you are literally doing the things that please the worst type of men. If you were focused more on traditional femininity, on having one partner, on getting married, on having kids, on building a family unit, I promise you would attract really good men into your life, and therefore you wouldn't hate all men. And every time I say things like this, I get told that I'm tearing down other women. No, the reason that I post what I post is because I actually care about other women and their well-being. You can take it or leave it. But if I were to just let you exploit yourself and enslave yourself to what I would consider a cult, I mean, take Bonnie Blue, for example, that would be me not caring about you.
Hello, my name is Joy, and I woke up choosing violence this morning because I would like to debunk and explain why feminism is a crock of shit. I can already see the comments of me getting called a pick-me girl for this, so let's just get into it. Number 1, hookup culture getting disguised as empowerment. The sexual liberation of random hookup culture completely goes against female biology because of how we emotionally bond through oxytocin. Hooking up with random people is not empowerment. It's disgusting. And the fact that feminism tells women that they will be liberated after that is an absolute lie. You're not going to feel liberated. You're going to feel like a slut. And that just leads to the spiral culture of I need more, I need to feel sexy, I don't feel wanted or desired, so I'm gonna go get it because I can, because I'm a boss-ass bitch. It's a lie. It's a complete, utter lie. Number 2, put in career over having a family. The narrative that traditional roles are oppressive, like, show me where they're oppressive. Other than maybe the Amish and the people in Utah. What are they called again? Mormons, that's what it is. You can climb the corporate ladder all you want. But true long-term satisfaction in your life comes from strong relationships where people actually care and love you for who you are, having a sense of community, and raising a family. This pressure that women have to have it all and be that boss woman in the corporate world, it leaves them burned out. Okay, those are the chicks that are walking around 45 that are fat and overweight with their hormones out of whack that look like they are just stressed beyond belief because they've been chasing a lie that someone told them would make them feel fulfilled, and it just doesn't. Number 3, feminism frames men as opponents, not partners. There are 100% bad dudes out there. I mean, like really bad dudes that exert their power and force to get what they want. They're tyrannous. Yes, absolutely. Those guys do exist. But attacking men in general, telling them that their masculinity is inherently toxic, is the most messed up thing on the planet. And number 4, last but not least, the promise of total independence. Telling women that they need total independence to feel happiness is just going to lead to pure isolation.
At the end of the day, modern dating isn't broken because people are bad. It's broken because there's no shared structure anymore. And older systems weren't perfect either. They were far from it, but they offered clarity, clear roles, clear timelines, clear expectations. So now everyone's free, but nobody knows what they're building toward. So the real question isn't whether feminism was right or wrong. The real question is this: if modern dating isn't working for this many people, what are we actually supposed to replace it with? Because ignoring this problem won't fix it, and pretending everything is fine won't either. I'm really curious on what you guys think about this topic, especially if you live this on either side. Feel free to share any personal stories. I love reading all the comments. But until then, I'll catch you guys at the next cookout. I'm out.